Welcome back to Brett Breaks Things. I'm Brett. I'm the one breaking things. We're joining you after a Memorial Day weekend, a little day off for a lot of you. Fun in the sun. Love Memorial Day. Hello to all our vets out there. Thank you for your service. That was obligatory, and I'm going to hit you with it. I had a good time. I had the fam over, had my pops over, overcooked some hamburgers, watched some hockey, watched some movies, watched The Patriot. We thought that was an appropriate watch for Memorial Day. Got a little drink in me. Had a good time. Scotty, did you do anything special over Memorial Day?
Yeah, we sent the kids to my mother-in-law's house, and we were able to just hang out, my wife and I. So it was very nice.
Yeah. That sounds like a really well-deserved little vacay for you. Scott's got a nice pool in the back too. It's a nice place to spend a
Yes,
Memorial
it
Day.
is.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. So it wasn't all fun and games, though. It wasn't all fun and games. There were some shootings over the weekend. Some people died. I have a manifesto here. I'm going to read to you real quick. Warped, radical left minds who allowed 21 million people to illegally enter our country, many of them being criminals and the mentally insane, through an open border that only an incompetent president would approve, and through judges who are on a mission to keep murderers, drug dealers, rapists, gang members, and released prisoners from all over the world in our country so they can rob, murder, and rape again. I'm sorry. Oh no, that was I'm sorry. That was Trump's Truth Social post on Memorial Day. Sorry about that. Wrong, insane person. We did have some shootings, which was honestly terrible in Chicago and some other places at parties. It is a common theme on holidays. Now, I mean, it used to be a couple of select days that, we'd have heightened awareness of this type of thing, but now it's every day is a potential day for shooting in this country, but that's for another time, that conversation. The war rages on in Ukraine, and Donnie, who, we know how Putin feels about Donnie. We know how Donnie feels about Putin, or at least we thought we did. There was a party in Turkey. Putin was invited. It was a ceasefire talks party in Turkey that Putin was invited to, and then he decided him and the other cool kids that he hangs out with were going to do something else. They decided they weren't going to show up to the party, and Donnie got his feelings hurt. He looked like an idiot on Air Force One. I was going to show up, but no, I wasn't going to show up. Putin was going to show up, but then he heard I wasn't going to show up. No, the truth is Putin was never going to show up, and he made you look like an idiot once again. In the face of a few things that are really working against this administration in the optics department, with the big, beautiful bill, and we're going to get to some more little tidbits about that. We're not going to spend a whole show on that again. I feel like I really dove in, but there are a couple interesting things from that. But the big, beautiful bill, the numbers are coming out. Middle and lower class Americans are realizing the implications of this bill on them and their family and their healthcare situation and feeding their family. Not good. And the optics of this meme coin dinner, not great. Okay, and we're definitely going to get into that in just a few minutes, actually. But Donnie had something to say.
Can you provide us an update on Russia and Ukraine as well?
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
I don't like it either, Don. And I told you when we started this show, if there was something he said or did that I agree with, I would tell you. There's nothing wrong with that sound. That's what our president, even though he could be a little more eloquent, obviously, he said it in maximum Donnie fashion, but I don't like Putin bombing Kiev, bombing civilians. I don't like it. It needs to stop. I agree with you, Don. Great job. But then comes more maximum Donnie. He can't just say the right thing and walk away.
President, what do you want to do about
And I'm
that?
surprised. I'm very surprised. We'll see what we're going to do. What am I going to tell you? You're the fake news, aren't you? You're totally fake.
What part of that question was fake? He just asked, what are you going to do about it? I feel like that reporter felt like this is going to be a safe space for me, right? He's on one, right? Donnie's on one with the tough rhetoric. So I'm going to ask him what he's going to do about it. Now, maybe a more tactful way to ask it is, does the administration have any plans to respond to these bombings in Kiev? Do you, Donald, have any plans to contact Putin or try to get him to stop these through any type of political means? Nope. You're fake news for asking that question. You're fake news.
Brett, do you think do you think that if he asked, or if the reporter asked Trump, like, "Hey, Trump, you've been doing such a great job with this so far," but like if they prefaced that first, do you think he would drop the fake news? Like
100%. 100%. Now, he might mention the fake news, but he might have said something like, well, we're going to get tough. I can't tell you what it is, but we're going to get tough. That's not a bad question out of you. You're normally fake news, but that wasn't bad, right? He might do a caveat, right?
Great news, great question out of fake news.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Great question out of fake news. I know who you are. I don't think you're very professional. I think you're an amateur, but that was a good question. It would have been something like that. MAGA, do you remember Red Dawn? Do you remember Rocky IV, Rambo, Hunt for Red October, Top Gun? Remember these movies? MAGA, and I'm talking to you, MAGA. You used to love to hate the Russians. You used to love to hate the Russians. And I feel like this is one area where you've suffered a little bit with your allegiance to this guy. Because it's been explained to you by the radical leftists that he's in his pocket, right? It's been explained to you. But you of course, can't believe anything the left tells you. So you want to discard that offhand. But every time you turn around, Putin is telling you, or Trump is telling you how strong of a leader Putin is and how good of friends he is with him. Maybe Donnie's giving you a path back to that particular lane of hate. He's been nurturing your hate for brown people. He's been nurturing your hate for trans. He's certainly been nurturing your hate for the left wing of this country, leftist radical libtards. Is there enough hate in your heart left to start hating the Russians again? Do you have it? I think you do. If I know you like I think I know you, I think you got enough hate left in your heart for the Russians. And I think Donnie's about to give you a lane to start hating them again. Maybe. I think this, however, this rhetoric, this is more about Trump's ego has had enough. As John Bolton said, he's a mark. And I'm going to play that sound actually later. He's a mark for Trump. The Steele dossier would, if you believe it, would lead you to believe that maybe Putin's got compromat on Trump. Putin's got business dealings in Russia. Okay? There's been a very close relationship between these two, or so it would seem. Now, I'm going to play you this mashup, and I think this mashup only happens because Putin gives Donnie, during the campaign cycle, some assurances that they will have what they want by the time you become president. And once I take 50% or up to Kyiv of Ukraine, take that back for the motherland, I'll be ready to talk to you. You'll look like a hero. I'll look like a peacemaker. I'll get the ports in Odessa and the Donetsk region, all these valuable parts of Ukraine that I want, and it's going to be a win-win. That's why we got this mashup.
Could end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours.
Yes, I
How
could.
would you do that?
I know Zelensky very well. I'll end that war between those two countries in 24 hours. It won't even take that long. I will get the war ended. I'll stop all of those lives from being wasted and lost. And there'll be no more bombing of Ukraine. There'll be no more bombing of Russia. And everybody will be happy. It can be negotiated, I think, within 24 hours. It really has to be.
You get the idea. You get the idea. It keeps going. War's going to end, war's going to end, war's going to end. Trump looks stupid there You're on tape several times, recording equipment. We've talked about his inability to understand what recording equipment actually means, but he's not too stupid not to not understand what that mashup would have, the implications it would have. Just so obviously wrong. You look weak, Don. Putin made him look weak there. Putin made him look weak in terms of the peace talks in Ukraine. And now Putin is continuing to kill civilians, continuing to throw it in Don's face. And I think Don's ego has finally had enough. I think Don's ego is running up against Donnie's best interests politically and financially. And his ego simply cannot handle being made to look this stupid anymore, hence that sounder. I can't wait to see what's next in terms of Trump and Putin's relationship.
You're back with Brett Breaks Things, because democracy doesn't defend itself.
Okay, so we're talking about the optics on Putin, the optics on Trump, the statements that, what led up to those statements out of Trump, the tough talk for Putin. And, the Vatican actually offered to step in. The Vatican offered to step in and mediate peace talks. They offered, the Pope offered to have them come. It wasn't an official request. And Putin doesn't have any plans to do that. But Trump talked about possibly going to the Vatican. If I was a Catholic in this country, if I was a staunch Catholic, and you don't know I'm not, I would want Trump to keep the Pope's name out his mouth. I would think it's about time for Trump to stop talking about the Pope and stop talking about the Vatican, especially in light of those pretty damning photos that he's posted on Truth Social, and of course his his own actions throughout his entire life that fly in the face of the tenets of their faith. But he had something to say.
The Pope would like to take a role potentially in mediating these talks. Does that mean that the U.S. is taking a step back from?
No. I think it would be great to have it at the Vatican. Maybe it would have some extra significance. And I saw that it was discussed yesterday, so I thought, and people told me that they'd be honored to do it. I would imagine they would be. And so, no, I think it would be maybe helpful. There's tremendous bitterness, anger, and I think maybe that could help some of that anger. So having it at the Vatican would be, in Rome, would be I think it would be a great idea.
Trump at the Vatican. I can't help but think about, one of the things I did over Memorial Day weekend is I watched Devil's Advocate again with my wife. She hadn't seen it. She's a lawyer, and she hadn't seen it, and she loved it. Why not? It's a great movie. We got our fingers in everything. Great movie. I can't help but think of John Milton standing in that church for the funeral of Eddie Barzoon, laughing at all the artwork and laughing at God himself and sticking his finger in the holy water and it boiling. I can't help but picture Trump walking in with the exact same smirk on his face, knowing his true allegiances as far as his eternal soul goes, and boiling up some holy water there. But that's not going to happen. That's a great sounder for Trump. He likes to invoke Catholicism. He likes to invoke his religiosity whenever he can, as pseudo as it may be. But that's not going to happen. Whether you are aware or not, one of Putin's tactics, terror tactics on Ukraine, apart from bombing Kiev and other residential areas, bombing farmers on their tractors and bombing hospitals and schools, nurseries, other terror tactics include taking the babies from occupied villages and transporting them back to Russia. That is one of the tactics he has employed during this war. And the ICC, the International Criminal Court, has issued a warrant for his arrest. You see, that is a war crime, stealing babies and spiriting them away back to your country. I mean, I know you guys are hard up for troops, but I feel like a nursery squad would be less effective by the time those babies have grown up. But look, it's all about integration and infiltrating and a psychological terror effect. There's a lot of reasons he would do this, but it is a war crime. And if he goes to the Vatican, Italy could extradite him. They could arrest him and send him to The Hague to stand trial for his war crimes. So I got news for you, Donnie. It ain't going to happen. That's another party you want to throw that the cool kid is not going to show up to. Period. It's not going to happen. It's as if you threw a party and you asked all the bad, cool kids to come. And then when they got there, they found out that you had the principal waiting in the downstairs bathroom to jump out and take them to detention. It's not going to happen. Okay? It's not going to happen. He's not going to be there. All right. We're going to move on from that because I talked about the optics. Lately with Don's administration. The big, beautiful bill and how is just a slap in the face to working middle-class Americans and, of course, the lower class. We know that. But this other optic problem he's got is this crypto dinner. Now, I did some digging. I wanted to be able to come on here and say, here's the law he broke with this crypto dinner. This statute, this. Nope. Didn't actually break any laws with that crypto dinner. The dinner itself didn't break any laws. The president is allowed to meet in private, in non-official capacity, at his private residence, wherever, with whoever. He's an American citizen. He's free to do as he pleases. And yes, he did give an announcement or a speech at this dinner at a podium with the presidential seal on it. I'm sorry, that really doesn't ruffle my feathers much. It's a non-starter for me. I feel like if we poke at that too long, we won't have time to actually get into the stuff that should be offensive to you. What should be offensive to you? That $394 million in total was collected to secure these 220 top Trump meme coin holders. $400 million was given to Trump for this dinner. It's about $1.5 million per seat, somewhere around there. To those 4 top donors, and that is confidential, to those 4 top donors, they got Tourbillon watches valuing up to $100,000. God, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel American. It doesn't feel like something that should be going on, but it is. And, you know, we have a list of some of the more notable names that were at that Trump dinner. I've been watching the news cycle, and I've been waiting for the mainstream media to give me some of these names. Can I dive in a little bit? Can I sink my teeth into this story? You want me to hate Donnie, right, CNN? Tell me who was there. Give me some stuff to have opinions on. Give me some people that I can highlight and say, ooh. I mean, the problem is, most of the people that should be offensive to you that were there are there under aliases. That's not shady. Not at all. Not shady at all. Now, one gentleman named Justin Sun, he was there. I got to wait till after the break to get into some of this crypto video. I do have a little bit of video explaining to you a little bit more about this dinner. They interview a gentleman who owns a company who wanted the president's ear. So he was willing to give up millions of dollars to be at this dinner, and he ended up finding out that he was just a pauper. He was one of the middling investors. I think it might have been $2 million. We're going to watch the video together after the break. But it does highlight. I will be highlighting, and I will tell you some of these other names. I mean, Lamar Odom, Miami Heat fans down here, you might remember Lamar Odom. He was on the Kardashians reality TV show because he dated, or was married to, Khloe Kardashian. His love life being public, him being a public figure. Then went on to be a Laker. You might love him, you might hate him. But there's a list of people here, okay? And I'll name some of them, but I really want to focus on this Justin Sun, because this is the attendee who should be offensive to you. And I know you don't know who he is. He's a Chinese-born crypto billionaire. And I'm going to get into why he was there, why he donated so much, why his presence there should be offensive to you, and what exactly did he get out of it? And that's just one of 220. Just one of 220.
Breaking politics, breaking narratives, breaking news. But first, we need a coffee break. Brett breaks things, where the stakes are high and the truth still matters.
Still working out the kinks. Still working out the kinks. And we are going live next week, by the way. While I mentioned the kinks, these are dry runs. They are being posted on our website, brettbreaksthings.com, the Instagram, Brett Breaks Things, Facebook, YouTube. The YouTube channel is up. And all of this will be going live next week. Please don't forget to check out our GoFundMe. If you're one of the people that have come to check out the shows early, please check out the GoFundMe. This is Dark Horse Studios. We're going to keep this open. We're going to try to keep this open, keep the lights on a little bit, and keep this going. And we're going to try to utilize the studio in a number of different ways to do that, but we need funding. We need help, no doubt, because we do not have any corporate influence. We're not getting millions upon millions of dollars from the Trump administration to sit here and lie to you and spin his bullcrap. We have no corporate influence, so we do need your help at the GoFundMe. So I mentioned Justin Sun. Justin Sun is one of the 220 that were at the crypto dinner. He invested $23 million. Give or take a couple million. What's a couple million here or there? He invested $23 million into the dinner to get the president's ear. I'm going to give you a little bit of context here.
Well, this event is blending the personal and the professional in an entirely new way for a U.S. president. The 220 top holders of Trump's crypto token have won a ticket to this so-called presidential gala tonight. And unlike major donors, these high rollers are gaining access to the president not because they gave to his campaign, but because they enriched him personally and his family.
It drew an enormous amount of attention.
Donald Quinby's company decided to go straight to the top after President Trump's new tariffs started throttling freight traffic.
We thought this was really the best platform for us to make a splash, right? Yeah, I mean, and to make some noise.
Quinby is the chief financial officer at Freight Technologies, a trucking logistics firm. Earlier this month, his firm purchased $2 million worth of Trump coin.
With the Trump meme token, this was just an opportunity to really advocate for free and fair trade.
So the idea was if we buy this cryptocurrency, we will potentially get the president's attention on this issue?
Potentially. I mean, I'm sure he likes to follow who's purchasing his meme coins.
The United States will be the crypto capital of the planet.
The president and his family launched Trump Coin just before he took office in January. An analytics firm says the Trump family and other backers have collected more than $300 million in transaction fees so far.
And this gentleman, Quimby, I'm advocating for free and fair trade. Well, fair trade for me, which is why I gave you a couple $1 million to be at this dinner. And if your company is competing against my company and not quite as successful, and you can't be to this dinner, well, sorry. I'm going to go advocate for my free and fair trade. Yeah. So Justin Sun, billionaire, Chinese billionaire. They talked about him a little bit.
Ethically, this appears to be a president that could be potentially benefiting privately from something that he's doing out in the open.
Last month, the Trump family went a step further, offering a, quote, intimate private dinner with the president at his golf course in Virginia for those who own the most Trump coin. They even posted a leaderboard so buyers could compete with one another. Among the winners, Justin Sun, a Chinese-born crypto billionaire and the largest holder of Trump coin. He was sued for fraud by the last administration, but earlier this year, the Securities and Exchange Commission paused the lawsuit as part of a broader Trump administration shift towards easing crypto enforcement.
A shift toward easing crypto enforcement. No, Justin Sun pumped as much money into the meme coin until he got a pause on the on the SEC filed lawsuit. That's all that happened there. You can talk around it. You can add all sorts of language to confuse and obfuscate and muddle it up and spin it. Bottom line, $23 million got his lawsuit paused. What lawsuit? Fraudulent wash trading. That was the big one. Okay, he would trade between his own companies to pump up the perceived volume of trades between his entities. He'd trade between his own companies and then look and say, look at how many trades my company had. The value has skyrocketed. I mean, he had celebrity endorsements. He had celebrity endorsers who lied about getting paid by this guy. Lindsay Lohan, Jake Paul, Akon, Neo, and Soulja Boy, among some, were charged for illegally promoting his meme coin, TRX and BTT, and they did not disclose they got paid. Okay? So and there was a couple other things in the lawsuit. So it was very transactional. You want to get offended? You want to get disgusted? You want to bang a drum about this dinner? That's the drum you bang. Right there. He pumped so much in, he ended up number one. Got himself a $100,000 watch and a lawsuit by the SEC paused. Crony capitalism is alive and well. This administration is absolutely open for business. And Carolyn Leavitt, she cannot rush to the mic to lie about this fast enough.
On the president's dinner tonight, will the White House commit to making a list of the attendees public so people can see who's paying for that kind of access to the president?
Well, as you know, Garrett, this question has been raised with the president. I have also addressed the dinner tonight. The president is attending it in his personal time. It is not a White House dinner. It's not taking place here at the White House. But certainly I can raise that question and try to get you an answer for it.
So he asked specifically about the list of attendees, and she completely ignored it, blew right past him into the talking points. And there are concerns about this dinner. Make no mistake. I mean, obviously concerns, and these are concerns. They're ethical concerns. Nothing has actually been done yet, but there are ethical concerns about this. Again, he didn't really break any laws. But Chuck Schumer, among other Democrats, are currently trying to write legislation to prevent this exact thing from ever happening again. It takes a real innovator of crime to come to the White House and start setting criminal precedent to the point where we have to write legislation for this brand new grift that Trump has brought to the office. We had nothing in place to prepare ourselves for this level of grift. We have to write new legislation to reel this criminal in. Security problems, vetting problems. Well, yeah, you've got security and vetting problems. Do you know how many people use pseudonyms at this dinner? There was one guy, he invested $19 million. His name's Ice, a crypto billionaire named Ice. That tells me that some math nerd who had struck it big in the crypto game, it's time to completely change the narrative. No more swirlies for him. No more getting stuffed in his locker. He's Ice. Ice. It's pretty damn cool. Pretty damn cool. Yeah, no kidding, you've got security and vetting problems, ethical concerns over the security and vetting of a dinner like this. 220 attendees, all donating millions of dollars, and half of them gave you a pseudonym. Half of them knew the implications of something like this better than Donnie did. All right? They knew better than Don did. So they knew not to give their real name. You think you might have security problems with that? Crony capitalism is what's hot in the streets right now.
We'll be back to break it all down. You're listening to Brett Breaks Things.
Head with the
Brett breaks things because someone has to.
All right. So while Donnie is enriching himself, Donnie and his family are enriching themselves through dubious crypto dinners, to the tune of almost $400 million, the Republicans were busy taking your health care away. The Republicans were busy enriching the corporate class and the millionaire and billionaire class through the big, beautiful bill. I did want to kind of give a prologue. Or is it epilogue? Which one comes at the back, Scott? Epilogue. I do want to give an epilogue to my spiel about the big, beautiful bill, because some more stuff is coming out and some people are saying things about it. People like Mike Johnson. I've already talked about him being one of the associates of Trump, one of the people in the staunch MAGA crowd on the Hill, one of his stauncher supporters. Some of them don't need to be held accountable. Trump's not going to hold them accountable. Some people like Stephen Miller or Bannon won't get thrown under the bus by Trump because they're too critical to this administration's philosophy and execution of that philosophy. In speeches and policy and the direction of the administration, some people a little too critical. Some people are bus fodder, and that is Mike Johnson. And that is why Mike Johnson is trotted out in front of a camera every single time the optics of this administration hit home. When something he does or policy his administration pushes or the Republicans in the House in this case push down our throats, when the optics of it, when the realities of it are too obvious for even MAGA or the stauncher conservatives to ignore, you send this guy out. You send this rube out to tell the lies and take the hits.
Nearly 200,000 Louisianans will lose their Medicaid coverage because of this. How do you defend that to your constituents?
We have not cut Medicaid, and we have not cut SNAP.
Okay, you cut Medicaid by $800 billion over the next 10 years, and you cut SNAP by $285 billion. So first the lies, right? He gets asked a direct question, camera rolling, microphone working. He tells the lie. And that one, it's straight, simple, to the point. You ask me a question, I'm going to give you the lie. First comes the lie, then comes the spin.
What we're doing, Margaret, is working on fraud, waste, and abuse. And everyone in Louisiana and around the country understands that that's a responsibility of Congress. Just in Medicaid, for example, you've got 1.4 million illegal aliens receiving those benefits. That is not what Medicaid is intended for. It's intended for vulnerable populations, for young, single, pregnant women and the elderly and the disabled and people who desperately need those resources. Right now, they're being drained by fraud, waste, and abuse. You got about 4.8 million people on Medicaid right now nationwide who are able-bodied workers, young men, for example, who are not working, who are taking advantage of the system. If you are able to work and you refuse to do so, you are defrauding the system, you're cheating the system, and no one in the country believes that that's right.
Okay, so let's just be clear about this particular piece of spin. They cut $800 billion over the next 10 years from Medicaid. They cut $285 billion from SNAP. But here's what he's telling you. He's telling you they're not cutting, they're strengthening. And that's because they're eliminating illegal aliens that are defrauding the system on Medicaid. That's a lie. Illegal aliens, undocumented immigrants are not eligible for Medicaid. Period. As I explained in the other show, only for emergency situations. Extreme situations. They are not on Medicaid. So that's a lie. He also blames it on lazy people, lazy men, lazy young men, more specifically. So what he's telling you is that they're not cutting your Medicaid and your SNAP. What he's telling you is there was $800 billion worth of undocumented immigrants and lazy people siphoning these benefits. And when we kick these people off who aren't actually on, in the case of the immigrants, then that would be worth $800 billion. So we're just eliminating $800 billion worth of fraud. But because we know that's a lie, where is this $800 billion actually being cut from? From the 200,000 Louisians, I don't even know how to say, the people in Louisiana, 200,000 of them will lose their health care. That is where it's getting cut. Not the imaginary 1 point whatever million undocumented immigrants on Medicaid. That's not a thing. It's the 200K recipients in Louisiana who are going to be cut off. That's where they're cutting it. It's not lazy young men defrauding you worth $300 billion worth of SNAP. They are cutting it. Make no mistake. And while they're cutting your Medicare, while they're cutting your SNAP, while they're kicking you off health care, there are those that are benefiting. So that's one thing they put in the bill. What else are they putting in the bill? I told you about that tax on silencers being taken off. Well, out of the shadows, creeping, crawling out of the shadows to take responsibility for this monumental piece of legislation, this amendment that's in this legislation, is Andrew Clyde.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My Democrat colleagues have challenged why the deregulation of silencers is in this bill and why are we removing the $200 tax. Well, under the law, they are firearms and therefore protected by another law enacted in 1791 called our Second Amendment of our beloved Constitution. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, and neither shall it be taxed. Chief Justice John Marshall in 1819 declared that the power to tax includes the power to destroy. If you can tax it, then you can destroy it. You can raise the tax so high that almost no one can afford it, and then you really don't have a right at all. But the Second Amendment is an unalienable constitutional right, God-given, that governments are required to protect, not to tax.
He's in that small clip, there's quite a bit to unpack there. But what he's telling you, and if he's going to cite the Second Amendment, he might want to get it right. Your right to bear arms will not be infringed. Hard stop. He tells you it shall not be infringed and taxed. No, Mr. Clyde. It's not in the Second Amendment. And he's talking about our right to be protected from taxation. Look, call me a socialist, but I feel like taxation in this country is not only inevitable, but absolutely crucial to provide you, Democrats and conservatives, with a lifestyle that sets us apart from other countries. The willingness to pay into your country to its betterment, to everybody's betterment, is the whole deal, right? That's the whole deal. Regardless, there was a $200 tax on silencers. That is now gone because of Mr. Clyde. Why? Why would Andrew Clyde be so invested in this? Well, he owns 2 successful gun stores in Georgia. He is selling these silencers that we are talking about. Of course, he wants sales on silencers to go up. Not only does he want more people in this country killed in a silent manner, but he'd like more sales because the tax has been removed. If there was anybody out there that was thinking, you know, I really want to kill somebody. I got somebody in mind that needs to die. If I could only get my hands on a silencer, I just don't have the 200. I just can't float the extra 200 in taxes. I guess that person's going to have to live. Darn it. Well, here comes Mr. Clyde to your rescue. Was it the $200 tax keeping you from silently killing somebody? Not anymore. America. And don't forget to stop by Mr. Clyde's gun stores to get your silencer. Because he's the one that did this for you. So, just if we're keeping a tally, if we're keeping the score straight, billionaires and corporate tax, lowered. $800 billion from Medicare, gone. $300 billion from SNAP, gone. 200,000 people in Louisiana off their health care. Silencers, oh yeah, you can afford your silencers now. That's a dub for America, baby. That's a dub for you and me.
They'll try to repair the narrative But Brett Breaks Things will be back tomorrow to break it all down.